Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Very happy to welcome Dan Franks from the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. Good morning.
Good morning, Susie. Thanks for having me with you today.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we think a lot about you as we're going through this global pandemic thing happening. Don't know if you've heard, but yeah. We think of places like yours where you are responsible for a number of children under one roof and how you keep everyone safe and healthy and how you're doing through this.
Well, thanks for asking. Certainly, when you think about the children who come to us at the Christian Children's Home have suffered higher levels of trauma, abuse, and neglect, and they need a safe place to stay. So obviously they are already coming to us in an unsettled position in life, right?
Yes.
So you throw on to that all the other stresses that most of us are dealing with right now. So I always say, just think of the stress you're under right now and multiply that over and over again. And that's what some of the kids are going through here. And really early on, we had to be extra strict on some things in terms of we basically went into a lockdown mode where we weren't allowing visitors onto campus to protect the kids as much as we could from any potential virus spread. And obviously, we do all the things that everybody else is doing right now with the temperature checks and all those kinds of things to make sure that the kids are safe with us as they're with us here on campus. This is their home, literally. We have 4 homes here where the kids are with us from 6 to 18 years old, and they're here 24/7 as they process all the things that they've gone through and all the things that they're facing in life today, and certainly COVID is part of that these days.
How do you help them feel secure when the grown-ups in their lives and even at the home are kind of going through a little bit of insecurity in their own right?
Right. So, as the adults, we have to back burner some of our own fears and stresses in life and really direct the kids as we direct ourselves. You know, we know in unsettled times more than a lot of other times, we really do refocus on our faith, right?
Absolutely.
We should always be focused in on that, but troubling times has a way of getting our attention a little bit more of how we need to really focus in on Christ. And so we need to live that out when we say that Jesus is our hope and he's our strength and he's our peace. We need to be that example to the kids that are around us, and that they see that it's not just Christian phrases that we're saying, but how we live that out in our everyday lives. And we have some incredibly great therapists that are here on the campus.
Yeah.
Each cottage has their own therapists who help the kids in that cottage. So they are not just one of hundreds of children that therapist is going to see. These are kids that these therapists are living life with these kids in these specific cottages.
It's almost like the world's best object lesson was dumped in our laps, wasn't it? And we're getting to show everybody, see, we're walking this out now. This isn't just a nice story that we've been telling you. This is real, and God can stand on his own 2 feet, and he's going to carry us through this. And we're seeing, would you agree, we're seeing some things that we wouldn't have thought of doing, but because of the necessities, the mother of invention, and because of this that we're going through, we kind of adapted some new ways of doing things that are actually better and that we're probably going to keep on doing in the future. I don't know if you're experiencing that as well.
Yeah, we're all discovering what's important to us during this time. And things that we thought we couldn't live without, we're like, well, I found a way to live without that.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of families now are spending more family time together, which has been one of the good things with one of the positive things, I guess I should say, from COVID. It's brought in more family time. I would say it's probably been a great object lesson. It would probably be the new way. You know?
Absolutely. The ages of the children that you serve are what?
6 to 18. So right now our cottages go preteen and then teenage. So there's preteen girls in one cottage, teenage girls in another, and then the same for boys. And we're about to open up another cottage for what we call tween girls, those who are 10 to 14. And this is largely because that segment of the population, sadly, are in the need of the most help. There's need of a place for girls in that age group more than other groups of children, largely because of the human trafficking crisis that we have in the state of Ohio.
Yeah.
So again, think of those ages, and a lot of people who don't work in this field would probably be shocked to hear 10 to 14-year-olds are affected by human trafficking.
I can't get my head wrapped around that. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's a scary thing, and wish it wasn't the case. And it's not just human trafficking, but certainly that is one of the contributing factors.
So does that mean you'll have 5 cottages then at
Absolutely.
that point? Wow.
Yes, we will.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they full? Are they at capacity? Or are you hopefully having fewer clients?
Yeah. Each cottage, it will fluctuate because obviously we don't know when a child comes here. It's not like we don't determine when they come, well, you're here for 8 months and someone's here for 12 months. It's really how they work through the program that we're doing with all the therapy and so forth while they're here. So we don't know when they're coming and when they're going. So it's so for instance, right now our teenage boys' cottage is completely full. But maybe 3 months from now it has 2 openings because it just so happened 2 of the boys are ready to be placed in a foster home or another biological family member has stepped up or some other options become available to them. So it changes from cottage to cottage, month to month, based on how many children are able to, what we say, step down from. This is what we call a residential program here in Worcester. So they would step down to a less restrictive type of environment, like a foster home or, like I said, another biological family member, maybe a group home, those kind of things.
What kinds of things do you do with the children who, I'm thinking of the 18-year-olds who are about to age out? I would not have been any more prepared to step out on my own in this world as an adult at the age of 19 than fly to the moon. And so what kinds of things do you do to prepare them for what's next?
Yeah, so we have, it's a relatively new part of our program here, integration therapists, and that's exactly what they're about. Okay, you're 17 years old, you're going to be 18 years old. You're going to be likely out on your own at that point as an adult. So let's prepare you with the skill sets, the abilities, the planning to transition from life here on campus to life out in society at this point. And this is why, too, we push so much. We also do foster families off campus.
Yes.
And this is why we push so much for foster homes, because we know how crucial it is for kids to have a loving family environment. And sometimes people say, yeah, but they're going to be adult in a year or 2. But it's still crucial that they have that family experience to be a part of, because 2 things, sadly, often happens when children become 18 if we don't do a great job of helping them to integrate back into society. Those 2 things being, they go right back into an environment that they were removed from previously because it was not a good thing for them. So that's not a preferable option, obviously. And the other thing is that it's the unspoken homeless population in our society. 18 years old who have a traumatized background, who don't really know how to function in a healthy way, go into society completely unprepared, and they end up part of our homeless population.
What kinds of things do you do as far as the Christian part of the Christian Children's Home of Ohio?
We've got a campus pastor on campus, and so he will interact with the children in regards to spiritual type needs. He also works with volunteers who come onto our campus and assist us. We have a Connect the Kids program, which is some church groups will come onto our campus on a Saturday and spend about 3 to 4 hours with our children. And it's kind of like I call mini VBS, a mini vacation Bible school with the kids. They do a lesson, they'll do treats, they do games, they do, all that in the course of a Saturday. They might come the first Saturday of every month. Then we have mentors. We're always looking for mentors who will really kind of think like big brothers and big sisters, only for our kids here on campus. And he kind of administrates that. We always have staff members who are around, and he keeps all of that together. We do church on campus. We do Bible studies on campus. He's available to help with questions of spiritual concerns, faith concerns. And a lot of our staff also can help with that, not just him.
Yeah.
But he would be a point person for those kind of things.
What's the response? I know you can't paint it with one big, broad paintbrush, but generally, what's the response of a child who's been through those kinds of things to find out that there is a God who loves them and has a plan for their life? That's got to be amazing news.
Absolutely. And, we have, just like everybody else, it seems like there's times of waves of revival, right? Where one child comes to Christ and all of a sudden, 4 more come to Christ because they see the difference, Jesus has made in that one person's life.
Yes.
I do have a story. We had a girl who came to us, and when she first came to us, she said, and she was raised in a home that practiced in the occult.
Oh, my.
So when she first came to our campus, she told the staff here, she goes, you know what? I don't know if your God's for real because I've never seen him at work, but I know Satan's for real because I have seen him at work.
Oh, my.
And so that's where she started. As you can imagine, that wasn't an easy place to start with her. It was she was difficult to deal with. And over the course of time, she began to see our staff loving on her even when she was difficult, loving on other kids. And she had what I call an aha moment. Aha.
Yeah.
And she's like, for the first time in my life, I am seeing God at work. As she saw staff members loving her and loving others. And she gave her life to Christ, was baptized on our campus, and then she became on fire for the Lord. And because of that, her cottage had a little revival happening with other girls, and then they're having their own Bible studies. It really just took off. So I wish I could see every child has that experience when they come here. But that's just one example of how Christ takes someone from a very painful, difficult circumstance and transforms her life.
Yeah, when you're choosing teams, choose the team that's going to win in the end.
Right.
And that just seems like a no-brainer, but how awesome that it was a reality for her then. And she, imagine the impact she'll continue to have. Did she have to go back to that home, or was she one that's able to go someplace else at the end?
She ended up going somewhere else. She ended up being placed in a foster home.
Yes, and a safer environment.
Absolutely.
Wow. Now, your position there, you do development, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I'm thinking we need to help you fundraise. How can we do that?
Yeah, so we are supported by donations of individuals, churches, businesses, and on our website, ccho.org/give, is where our donor page is set up. And here's one of the cool things that we do here. We have something called Campus Champions who want to do a gift every month electronically, and then what we'll do is we'll send you an update of the group of children that you want to hear about. Now, we have to protect privacy, so we can't give you names, but let's say I have a real soft spot for teenage boys.
Mm-hmm.
I could make a donation to the Christian Children's Home and every month hear what's happening in the lives of the boys in our teenage boys' cottage.
Neat.
So you can kind of follow through, and then you can get stuff like how you pray for the boys here in that cottage, whatever the case may be. So that's like $20 a month if you made that commitment online. You could have those. So that's called our Campus Champion program. But also, one-time gifts obviously are big deal to us. We're coming close to the end of the year, and this is the time some people are thinking about charitable giving. And we would just ask people to prayerfully consider us as possibly one of those gifts that someone would make to support the work that happens here. We not only provide homes, but as I mentioned, a lot of therapy for the children when they're here. We also do education here. We have a partnership with a local school district, Norwayne Schools, providing school teachers for us, and we provide other resources for the school here. But kids typically come to us 2 to 3 grade levels behind where they should be, and we're trying to catch them up during the time that they're with us. So that's another part of what's happening here during their time on campus.
I'm going to want to dig deeper there when we come back. We're speaking with Dan Franks of the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Dan Franks from the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. Let's talk about school. School's been challenging for everybody, not just for children who are in a temporary residential situation because they've been removed from a scary, scary place. How are you doing school? Is it face-to-face? Is it online? Is it digital academy? What are you doing?
Yeah, so we do a couple things here. We do a lot of computer type of education with our older kids, but not just that. So here's how a day would work for some of our children. I'll just walk us through like the girls. The girls may start the first half of their day in school. We call it the Leadership Center here, where our kids go to school. So the girls' first half of their day would be up there in doing lessons. So we have one classroom for the preteen girls, and we have another classroom for the teenage girls. And the teenage girls will have not only personal, direct education, but also some of it is online. We have computer stations up there. And then the younger girls is all direct education, just like a regular classroom. And then lunch, and then the second half of their day would be when they would do a lot of their therapy during that time. So then the boys would be flip-flop of that. So the boys would be maybe doing therapy in the morning, lunch, and then school the second half of the day. So that gives a little feel for how the day runs.
Do the boys and girls ever interact?
They do, because if you came on our campus, you would drive onto campus and look to your left, you would see like a cul-de-sac, and it looks just like any other neighborhood. There's 5 houses on this cul-de-sac, and that's where our kids live.
Wow.
And so, there is some interaction between the boys and the girls, so just because they're in the neighborhood, so to speak.
Right, okay. They get just naturally making friends as they're going.
Exactly.
Tell me about the 6-year-olds. I think of those young ones. I just can't fathom what a child at that age has had to go through in order to be placed with the Christian Children's Home of Ohio. What is the goal there? Is it to get them back home? Is it to get them into a foster home? Is it to get them adopted by a new family? What are you trying to do with the younger children?
When a child is removed from the home, we would never tell them a number, but they are assigned basically a number of trauma. What level of trauma are they at? And so in our case, for our foster families, we try to train them to be able to receive a level 2 or 3 level of trauma. And we would call that treatment foster care, foster homes. And then if they're with us on campus in Worcester, they're at a level 4 or higher level of trauma. So earlier I talked about stepping down. There's also a more restrictive environment than what we have here. It's a lockdown facility. That would be a step up from us. So that's even more severe. But we're at a 4 or higher, and we want to step down. So from residential, you could step down to a foster home, another biological family member, a group home type of environment is what we're trying to step them down to from here. Because, again, remember that clock is ticking that I told you about. We want them to be in a loving environment, a loving home before 18, so they always have that foundation for when they become an adult.
How do you select foster families?
So we have opportunities for people to sign up for our foster care training, and you would come, you would do, I believe it's 36 hours of training that we do. And then once you complete the training, if you still could at that point say, nope, that's not for me. Or you would say, okay, I'm ready to go to the next level. Then we would do stuff like home assessments. You would tell us the type of child that you're comfortable with, because there are various different situations that might determine you want a boy or a girl, older or younger children. You would get to tell us all those kind of things. We then have to go through a process with the state to make sure everything's good and you are licensed. And the second you are licensed, you can start receiving children into your home. Then you are required to do some continuous education even after that, so many hours per year to maintain your foster care license. And we provide all the training that a person would need for any of that.
What are you looking for in a potential foster family?
Yeah. If you're going to foster with us, you really need to understand that these children are coming from hard places, and they're not always going to act in the perfect way. So you have to be comfortable with that. If you're in church and the child is having a difficult time just sitting in church, that's how it works sometimes. Sometimes that child that you're going to have from us might have a meltdown at the department store. And you have we are going to equip you the best we can to deal with that effectively, but you still have to be comfortable with those uncomfortable moments. And I just consider those who choose to foster are just incredible people.
Yes.
To be able to put yourself out like that, to love on kids from hard places, and to be willing to be the person who takes those dirty looks from other people who don't understand what you understand your child is going through. Those are special people. And,
no question. And it seems to me also it would be a family affair. So as you're talking about the training that the parents go through and all the support, what about the biological children who are welcoming foster siblings into their home? Is there anything to prepare those kids for the kids who are about to enter their lives?
You know, that is an awesome question. And there's
well,
not really...
thanks.
How about that?
Just wondered.
There's not like a formalized education. Children, parents can bring their children to our trainings that we do. And we also provide basically childcare at a lot of our training because some of the foster parents who come to us already have some biological children.
Right.
And so when they come for training, they need someone to watch their children that they already have. But there's not like a formalized program for children. So some of that almost has to be a trickle down where parents are educating their biological children about what they're learning through the training that we're providing.
So maybe if someone's not quite ready to dive into being a foster parent, they might be considering doing the mentorship part. Let's talk about how is that different? How can you mentor someone without going all out as being a foster family?
Yeah, so you can come. We have a process that you would go through. We will train you to be able to interact with the kids here. And it really is as simple as coming out once every other week or so and spending some time with one of our kids.
Yeah.
And it can be as simple as we have a recreation center here. It might be as simple as going over there and shooting some hoops. We have a workout area. It might be working out. It could be doing a puzzle with one of the kids, or just talking or and with the child during your time. So there's just a lot of things that you can do during that time. And we always have a staff member present. So some people are like nervous, like I'm afraid I'll mess up. Well, we have a staff person with you, so you don't have to be afraid of those kind of things.
Great.
And like I say, we'll equip you for that. But it really is allowing this child to know. And here's the powerful thing. Think about this. Kids come to us abused and neglected. So a lot of times, a lot of these kids are given a message, even if not verbalized, they've been given a message that they aren't as worthy of love as other children. And what our phrase is here is helping people experience their worth in Christ. So what you're doing when you choose, and this is something that kids have even said, when they'll even say to the mentor, "You chose me to you be my mentor."
Yeah.
It is a powerful message that you are saying to the kids here, that you care enough about them to spend some time with them and invest in their life. And outside of mentoring, we do have opportunities for people just to come on campus and help equip our kids for life after here. We're in the process of developing a program to teach kids how to fix a car. So they know how to do that. So someone who knows how to fix a car comes and educates their kid about that. We've had someone who come and said they were connected with a Ohio Department of Natural Resources program to teach our kids how to fish, because some of our kids have never fished before in their life. So all of those kind of different things. It may not be a mentor every other week, but maybe you can come and teach our kids something about life, how to balance a checkbook, those kind of things.
Important
so there's
things.
Lots of opportunities.
And it seems like the most important thing, Dan, is that once you commit to it, that you're reliable, because they've had enough people let them down through the years, that this would be something that they don't know what you're going to do. The important thing is that you'll be there.
Correct. One of the phrases the kids have actually said to us before, and I usually tell people the first time you come out may not be one of those Hallmark card moments, because they're not sure how for real you are.
Yes,
so some people come out with this expectation of, they're going to love me so much, and they're guarded because of exactly what you said. And the kids have literally used this phrase before, and that is, sometimes we feel like people are coming out here to check us out like we're animals in a zoo.
Oh, my.
So that's the mentality to begin with. But then when they see that you're for real and that you really do love them and care for them, that is life-transforming. for them, because no matter what, you have shown them the love of Christ, just like that girl I told you a moment ago, that will stay with them for the rest of their lives.
Wow, yes. Other volunteer opportunities that you might have?
We are in the process of getting ready for Christmas around here. So we do Christmas on campus. A lot of these kids are literally here Christmas Day. There's very few that actually get to be with family on Christmas Day. So we do Christmas in each of the houses here, and the gifts come from people like who are listening now who chose to adopt one of our children and say, I will take a Christmas list.
How do we do that? Because how do we do that? Okay, thank you. Because I would think that this might be one of those groups that kind of slips through the cracks of all the Christmas programs that there are. My goodness, we may need to make sure that these children have a great Christmas.
Absolutely. And so Lauren Steiner organizes that for us. So she's the person to contact, and you can email or call. Her email is Steiner, STEINERL, @ccho.org, or you can just call us here at 330-345-7949 and ask for Lauren, and she'd be happy to talk to people about that. And if you don't want to do gifts, we have wrapping parties, because all the gifts that come to us, we ask they not be wrapped, because there's some guidelines that we have to follow here. And then we have wrapping parties where volunteers come out and wrap the gifts. And I always say we don't want me wrapping the gifts because it might be covered, but it's not going to look very good.
It'll be covered up, though.
Covered up.
It's covered up. That's my husband's style of wrapping as well. I think you're in a big club there. What about food? What about Christmas dinner? I mean, how many mouths are we feeding? We want this to be great. We want a great Christmas for these kids.
Yeah, so we have typically, and again, it'll shift at different times, and now at the Fifth Cottage that's opening up, we could have, in terms of kids on campus, anywhere from 35 to 42 kids on campus. During that time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, we want to participate. So call this number, 330-345-7949. You want to give somebody a great Christmas, email Steiner, that's STEINERL, @ccho.org. And that, of course, is for Christian Children's Home of Ohio. Dan, Facebook or website? I'm guessing ccho.org to be able to find out more about everything else we've talked about.
Everything is there, ccho.org.
Dan Franks, thank you for all you do in our community.
Thank you for this opportunity to share this morning.